Welcome, and please join us and our guest, Chris Haley and Black Label Marketing. Here we go.
Hello, and welcome to The Experience Local with Russ and Scott. Each week, they bring you conversations with local Christian businesses and business owners. The Experience Local is brought to you each week by wonderful sponsors.
Copper Rock Real Estate. Commercial and residential real estate in the Mid-Willamette Valley. CopperRockRealty.com. Independent Merchant Brokers. Low-cost and no-cost debit and credit card processing. 877-460-4747. IndependentMerchantBrokers.com. Bosun Hub Digital Development encourages you. Join in supporting Walk to End Alzheimer's. ALZ.org. Adams Ribs Smokehouse, 1210 State Street, Salem, Oregon, 503-362-2194. AdamsRibsSmokehouse.com. Discover Oregon Real Estate. Tim Rist on the web at dore.llc. Find your people, find your home.
And now, your hosts for The Experience Local, Russ and Scott.
Ta-da! Here we are. Welcome to the Experience Local live with.
There we are, Russ.
Yes, and we are local in two different local areas. Scott, where are you coming from today?
Yeah, so I'm at the corner of highways 64 and 160, the little community of Tiknospas in northern Arizona. And so I have some wind noise here, but it is northern Arizona, so I'm going to be muting so that we don't get to share that wind.
Yes. Oh, I totally get that. But you know what? It's so great to have you here as you make your trek back to Waco and your new digs there in Texas. But so thankful that everybody is joining us today, wherever you are, wherever your local is. You know, this show is all about believers in business and about local business. But you know what? We want to encourage you not just to watch our local business, but to focus on your local business, because you know what? We have an amazing global community. We love it. But also we need to not forget our local community and our local economy. And so we're so thankful to all of our sponsors today that we had on today. And I'm just going to pop this up one more time and just say thanks, Copper Rock, IMB, Bosun Hub, who's sponsoring in the name of the Alzheimer's Association, Adams Ribs Smokehouse, and Door Real Estate. It is just amazing to have those people with us and to be here today. So, Scott, give us a little input about your travels and when are you going to make it back to Waco?
So, all right, I'll get into the car so that I can get out of the wind. So I flew back to Oregon on Saturday, and Saturday night I started my journey back to Waco, Texas, and made it as far as Utah, and then which is about the halfway point. And so now I'll continue on down.
That is so great. That's so great. Other than those loud cars, you sound awesome. So I want to tell you that everybody that's here again today, that we love this community, no matter where we are. Scott and I are in two different places. Chris is here in the local Valley area, but I want to tell you that we have a couple of great things you should know about. And that is, number one, you should join our YouTube community to find out about all the amazing local guests that we have. And that is that the experience.video today will take you directly to our YouTube page. You can subscribe today. And Scott made a nifty little page that gives you more information on he and I, our other shows, and this show, The Experience Local, live with Russ and Scott. You just go to local.theexperience.video today, and you'll have all of that information. We're so thankful that you're here. And Scott, I think we should get Chris in the room and start having a chat. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's have fun.
That's right. Right on. So here he is, Mr. Chris Haley. How's it going, Chris?
Hey, good morning. It's going great. How are you guys?
We are so good. And, I am so thankful for you, my friend. Not only are you an amazing business person here in the local area and an amazing believer, but you're also, I'll let you tell about this, but we go to church together and you are on
We
staff at
do.
our church family life, which is amazing. You can tell my favorite word of the day today is amazing. So, anyway, I am, I'm so thankful that you're here. And why don't we start by who is Chris Haley? What are you all about? What are you up to? Give us a little snippet on you.
Yeah. So, if you were gonna describe me in a couple words, I would say I'm a business owner. I'm faith driven. I'm in the process for planting a church. I love coffee. I'm a girl dad, so I have three girls. I have an 18-year-old, a 13-year-old, and as of today, a 10-month-old. Um,
Wow.
right. Yeah.
Happy
And
10-month birthday.
right, literally, yeah. I woke up and my wife had already had her in this cute little outfit, and she's like, "Happy 10 months." It was precious. And yeah, I'm a husband, father, business owner, lover of Jesus, man.
That is so great. That's so great. I want to say something, Scott, then I'll let you jump in. But I want to say that the idea of celebrating her 10 month, when they're little, we celebrate every teeny little milestone. Let me
Mhm.
tell everybody that's watching, everybody that's listening today, celebrate life, celebrate every milestone because you don't know that you're going to be able to have the opportunity to celebrate another. And that is not a negative, everybody, but it is a positive saying, enjoy your life. God gives us today, right? But we don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. And Scott, take it from there.
Yeah, everyone knows that 0 to 1, there's just new changes every day. And I
Yes.
remember having the video camera on for like 20 minutes because I know she's going to roll over again, just waiting for that moment,
Yep.
right? So we
Dude,
do
it's
that.
so true.
Chris, tell us about your business.
Yeah, so I am the owner of Black Label Marketing LLC. We are a full-scale digital marketing agency that helps owners thrive in a digital landscape. So we do your search engine optimization, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, videos, ads, website building. We do all the things. Anything digital, we do it at Black Label. We're really focusing right now on our Google Business Profile rankings, as well as our search engine optimization and kind of programmatic SEO is what we're really focusing on right now, and we're making some killer results for some of our clients. So it's super awesome.
Yeah,
Well,
I
I
love
can,
that.
and let me just say quickly too about the Google Business Profile. That is really underused in a lot of businesses. Can you give us just a little glimpse of what that is? Because it's not new, but it's new to a lot of people.
Yeah. So your Google My Business profile, it works in tandem with your website, but the Google My Business profile, you need to be tracking the keywords that you're using for your business. So whatever keywords, let's take like an electric company, for example. So if you're an electric company, you probably want to be doing commercial electric repair, like home electrical repair, maybe, some home electrical remodel, some of those keywords, and you want to be tracking as many keywords on your Google Business profile that you can. And the reason why you do that is because when people search those terms, you want to be found. And so the more that you're tracking and consistently updating your Google Business profile with those keywords, the more likelihood you're going to get found, as well as making sure the SEO and the verbiage that you're using in those keywords are also in your website. Absolutely huge. If Google being the biggest search engine in the world, it's trying to pull as much data as it can. So if we can make all the data cross over in the same spot, then Google is going to be like, oh, this is a reputable site. Yes, let's push this out to the good business owners that need, that have us. So
Yeah, that is so awesome. And that's such a needed thing. People need somebody like you because a lot of people just don't know the information on how to do those things. And it's so
mhm.
critical to find where your tribe is, where are the people that are interested in what you're doing, right? In business. So, hey, I want to remind everybody we are here with my good friend Chris Haley of Black Label Marketing LLC, an amazing Christ follower, man of God. And I want to ask you about that really quickly. And that is, you know, you are obviously ministry focused, and as are we both. and you but you're doing regular business. And how do those two things come together and work together? And what is the impact of your faith on your business with the people you're working with?
Yeah, I use the business as the kind of the boat for me to display the gospel and everything that I do. At the end of the day, I just want people to know Jesus. And so I believe as believers, it's our duty to make the invisible visible. So the invisible things that people can't see that believers do, the way we walk, the way we talk, the way we act. Man, I want to hold that responsibility of being the best representation for Christ that I can be in my business. And there have been times where I've sat with a business owner and he's like, "Hey, man, I can really only afford a month of services. What happens after the first month, if I can't afford the service? Like, are you going to hold me to this contract? What does that look like?" And I'm like, "Hey, man, it's a case to case basis." And I literally say this when we sit down and talk, I was like, "Man, I pray and I ask God for the wisdom, and we move out of that place." And the responses that I get back to that are like, "Oh, wait, like you're praying? Like, why do you do that?" And so it just opens the door for me to be able to speak to them and end up praying with them. So my business really is a vessel for the gospel. And my hope is that I get to meet so many different people. My hope is that I can bring them into the church. That's the goal for me. Meet Jesus, be part of the community, and let's see what God will do with that.
Well, it's one of the things, Chris, that they call the Northwest the Great Unchurched Belt, right? And I know in Corvallis that on the average, less than 4% of the population would be in a church on a Sunday morning. And now the pastors got together and they actually did the math, and they took all of the seating just in the Corvallis churches, and if 10% of the population showed up, there wouldn't be enough seating for them. So
Yep.
here you are in the midst of a startup of a church, and definitely necessary, definitely needed in the community. So tell us about your calling for that and what your vision is for this new church.
Yeah. So I'm on staff at Family Life, and so we're going to be planting a campus of Family Life. So it'll be just kind of a branch off of what we do, and realistically, we're a vibrant community that loves people, and we're about generosity, truth, and realness. And so we just want to bring that to the South Salem community. There's South Salem churches, but how many of them are preaching truth, and how many of them are really active outside of a Sunday morning? I think we've fallen into society, into this place of where, well, church is just Sunday morning. Church is so much more than Sunday morning. Church isn't even the building, it's the people. So how do we engage people? How do we reach new people? And how do we bring them into the fold, letting them know there's a real family that cares about them? How do we disciple them? How do we teach them how to read the Word of God? And also, how do we bring them into just the community aspect in general? And I don't mean community and how I think church does community. I mean like family community. I mean this word communitas, which means a shared ordeal, a shared vision that we're all moving towards. And so how do we get a community to move in a communitas environment? That is what we're really focused on and what we're trying to bring to South Salem. And I mean, I'm talking like, somebody that comes up to you on a Sunday morning that is like, "Hey, I just lost my child and I don't have money to pay for my rent. I need help." We want to be the church that is like, "Oh, you need help? So how much do you need? Here it is." We want to bless our community in every aspect that we can and be generous for those things. All for the kingdom, not for the name of the church, not for the name of the pastors, not for the name of any of the leaders, but just because, man, we're Jesus followers and we love him and we believe that this is what he would model and what he would do.
That is amazing and well said. Hey, everybody, we are with my good friend Chris Haley with Black Label Marketing LLC, also a pastor here in Salem and at the amazing Church of Family Life, where we have successfully have a campus now in Dallas, Oregon as well. So we're in West Salem. The one in Dallas is doing amazingly well. And so looking forward to expanding that with Chris and our team. But and we have this in common because all these years before you came around, before my beautiful daughter was the worship pastor at Family Life, Kyla, I was the worship pastor for about a little over 10 years. And so it is just something that I'm very passionate about. And
Mm.
I dealt with all those years before I went to Family Life. We were in Dallas at Valley Life Center in Dallas,
Hmm.
and we
Okay.
do a lot of traveling, a lot of driving, and this affected my family, school times. We were at church much later back in those days, and choir practice after Wednesday night services, and all these things. So it affects your family. Talk a little bit about that. Talk a little bit about how your family is with you in this, but also how you get through some of the not fighting on the way to church things.
Yeah, yeah. Man, I think sometimes the fighting on the way to church is just it's inevitable. Sometimes it happens and that's the way it is, But you move through it. And for us, I was actually talking to my wife about this. We just got back from a church planning conference in Chicago. And it was absolutely massive. I mean, it was super in depth. We had to do like psych evaluations and credit checks and financial checks and all of that kind of stuff. And they asked us this question of like, how would you describe you and your family? And my wife and I were like, man, what would we describe ourselves as? And she was like, I got it. We're the first responders. We're our family in general is the family that something goes wrong at 2 a.m. and we're somebody's first call and we show up. And our family is really missional. We're really about the mission of people. And so for us, the balance of having family time, doing church, but also being with people. Everyone in my family is just about extroverts, except for my 13-year-old daughter. She's more of an introvert unless she's around the right people. Then she's an extrovert. But we we love being around people. So for us, we don't really have any issues at this point in time. It's been really flawless and seamless. We're about the mission of loving people and loving people well. Even so much so, like my wife, she does serving opportunities. We partner with Be Bold Street Ministries, and so we are out on the streets loving the homeless and going into camps and doing that when we can. So yeah, we're about it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I like that when you talk about the extroverts, a family of extroverts. And I would say your daughter is also probably an extrovert, but she's a shy extrovert. And you can be an extrovert and be shy. So
Yep.
anyway, they
Yeah.
don't, they're not mutually exclusive. Um, so let's talk about the community and the different involvement. So you talked about some of the vision for what the church can do, and
Mhm.
honestly, that's what I read in the Bible in the New Testament. Jesus met people's physical needs so they would be open to
Yeah.
address their spiritual needs. So you're definitely going about this as a New Testament process. So let's talk about community involvement over the years, on your own, with your wife, with your
Mhm.
family, and with the church, and with your business.
Yeah. Yeah, man, whew, that's a lot of history. So, I have always been super active in the community, more so in the sports community. I was super active at the Hoop when the old owners used to own the Hoop. So I was actually doing their marketing way back in the day when I was like 15. And so we would put on events and hoop dances and roller skating and all of the things. So I was helping facilitate all those and building community partners, reaching out to different basketball teams and coaches all over in California, Oregon, and Washington, trying to bring them into the fold. And then I've also worked at Boys and Girls Club. I spent there for 4 or 5 years. I've worked with Christian Community Placement Center. I was a lead staff over there for years, helping boys transition from corrections into just like normal society life. Then I also partner with Be Bold Street Ministries, part of Salem Heights Biblical Counseling. I'm a nationally certified biblical counselor, so I counsel people in the U.S., all over the U.S., Florida. I have a guy right now that's in Hawaii that I'm counseling. I have a couple here in town that I'm also counseling that are pastors at different churches. Um, so I'm super active that way. My wife also works for Safe Corporation, and so she's active in all the things that she can do. She's an HR over there. And then my business, man, I am involved in a really small networking group that we are about supporting the community, like Samanka House, and a couple other smaller venues that need some help financially. And so we're about how can we help people, how can we love people, how can we raise money, just the normal stuff. So we're pretty involved in any community thing I can put my hands into and say, yeah, I can be there. I try to be there.
Yeah, well, that is amazing that you're so active, because exactly what Scott said, I love that. And that is putting boots to the ground and actually taking action with your faith. And it was interesting because I have been, it's really my heart to reach out to people like you that are in need. And a lot of times on an individual basis, there was a gentleman at our church that was having some struggles that, I couldn't do a lot, but I could do something. I think that's
Yeah.
a theme that is so important. And I'm going to pause here, everybody, and tell you that we're speaking to my good friend, Chris Haley, with Black Label Marketing LLC, also pastor of Family Life Church here in Salem. Amazing individual. But, I'm thinking that we can all do something, and it's a matter of taking action. I think a lot of times, Chris, people get overwhelmed and think if they can't do everything, they're going to do nothing. Right? It's kind of that perfectionist mentality, instead of I can't do everything, but I can do something. And maybe that something's one little thing that will have an amazing impact because I did something, right? Talk about that.
Yep. Yeah, this is funny that you mentioned this. So I actually had some friends over last night, my wife and I did, and their kids, and they were all running around, and we were actually talking about this very thing. How in the church, I think we've done this. Well, I can't meet the full need, so I'm just not going to try. But we have a wealth of people. Like I know I have maybe like 1,800 friends on Facebook. I know that I could reach out on Facebook and be like, hey, I have somebody who has the need. And I know one of those friends has that need. They can meet that need. And so why don't we reach out to the network of people that we're in community with to help somebody reach a need? Even sometimes it's just as much as somebody needs you to just listen to them. Like we can offer that. We can just listen. We can give a hug. We can take somebody out to coffee. And it's those little seeds that we plant that excel somebody on their faith journey. We were in Chicago at this church planting conference, and my wife and I'm a snacks person. I love snacks. And so we were at the hotel, and I was like, hey, let's go to the grocery store and pick up some Nerds gummy clusters, some Doritos, and a couple other things. And I was like, let's go. And so on our way back from the grocery store, we were in the car in the Uber with this guy, Bruce. And he was like, what are you guys doing in Chicago? And we're like, oh, we're here for a church planting conference. And like, do you go to church around here? And he's like, no, I actually don't. I wasn't raised in the church. I don't really know like where I stand with that. And in that moment, my wife and I were like, oh, this is the perfect time to plant a seed. And so we ended up sharing just a little bit about our story, a little bit about the gospel with him. But that seed was planted, and whatever God does with that, that's God. At least we were obedient in planting a seed. God will water that at some point in his life. And we were talking about this as we planted church with a couple of the people that we were sitting with last night. And they were like, man, how do we get people from this place of they've accepted Christ as their savior? Then they get baptized, but like, what do they do after that? How do we come up with a good strategy for where we can keep them plugged in for the long term? What if they just show up, they get saved, and they leave? How do we offer them something? And so we were throwing ideas around, and I came up with this idea of like, man, it would be really cool to give them like a box, right? In this box, you have a Bible, you have a devotional, you have like just some like teachers that we would say, hey man, if you just want to listen to something on YouTube, this is like the 4 or 5 teachers we would say, hey, listen to these on YouTube as you go on your faith journey. They may never open it, they may never use it, but maybe they will. Maybe they walk away and in 6 months they're going through something hard and they were like, you know what? I remember that church that I was a part of that gave me this book and that gave me these teachers I should listen to. Maybe I should listen to them and see if they are showing something that I need to hear from the Lord. Why not? Let's be the people that can solve those issues.
Amen. So good. Scott, I'm going to just jump in here and thank Chris so much because we're getting close to wrapping up the show. But I want to give you some time to, give you a couple minutes to give us your really gold nugget of today's conversation, which I think there's about 500 in what you've given so far. I'm scratching notes down as fast as I can. And so I appreciate all that you're saying, but give us your one thing you want people to leave with and not forget, gold nugget today. And then make sure and let people know how they get in touch with you. This is so important for me, is that everybody that comes on this show realizes this is how we grow community. This is how this show is growing. This is how our businesses are growing. This is how our churches are growing, by coming together with people that love God, the people that are like-minded, that are moving forward in a positive direction. You are definitely one of those. So Chris, take it away.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I want people to walk away with today, and I hope that they hear in this conversation, one is that God loves them, and two, community is important. Get plugged into your local church, wherever you're at. If you don't have one, we would love to see you at Family Life. I'm there every Sunday. Come and say hi. But get plugged in. It's important to be with like-minded people. It's important to love people together and learn about the Bible and how we grow in our faith journey. So I encourage you. That's it. If you want to get a hold of me, you can reach out to me online, blacklabelmarketingonline.com. My cell phone number is 707-386-7706. Yes, that's my cell phone number. I think a lot of people in business, they don't, at least in the marketing industry, they give you a number and you could reach 1,000 different people, but that's my personal cell phone number. So you can literally reach me. You can text me at that number and I will respond. I like to be personal with my clients, so they can reach me that way.
Yeah, that is so awesome. And I am exactly like you. I give out my cell number as well because I want people to be able to reach me and talk to me. And I think that is so important. And you, Chris, are doing amazing things. I appreciate you. I want to remind everybody, if you're looking for Chris when you come to Family Life, I'm there to help point you where he is. So either one of us will find you. So Scott, last words for Chris.
Hey, Chris, it's just great meeting you and hearing your story. And I love the example of you and your wife sharing the gospel there in Chicago. People think, oh, I'm not a pastor, I'm not a missionary, I don't know what to say, but just sharing your life is enough. So thanks for that example.
Yes, and thanks so much, Chris. We're going to say goodbye to you. Hang tight for just a moment in the green room. We'll be right there. But thank you for being on today. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, Scott, another amazing show. Oh my goodness.
Absolutely.
Our guests get better every week.
Absolutely. It's just a great story. I was just saying, as I was driving, I drove through Moab, Utah yesterday, and I have not been to Moab. Last time I was here was in October of 1995, 29 years ago. And I had we were mountain biking, and I got a hat at the Poison Spider bike shop. Over 29 years, by the way, that hat disintegrated, so I had to get a new one. And there we go. I'm going to put the shades back on, jump back out here into the Arizona landscape near Four Corners. Russ, as you wind this down, it's always great. And Russ, I'll just say, people around the world are praying for you.
Thank you. Everybody does. And I want to thank you all for praying. For those of you who know that I'm going through a cancer battle, I appreciate your prayers, but I want you to know that God is with me going through it. I've got a good attitude and perspective. I love life, and you should too, no matter what you're going through, because I know everybody's going through something. So listen, thank you everybody for being a blessing to Scott and I, for being part of this community. And we're going to sign off for today. And we're just going to say, don't forget, we're here every Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. We're also part of the Experience Radio Network, so check your local listings or our show notes for that information. And don't forget, I gave you the little thing you can go to, local.theexperience.video, for all the information you need there. And until we see you again, have an amazing day, amazing life. Bless you, everybody. See ya.
Thank you for tuning in to The Experience Local with Russ and Scott. Listen to the program on Spotify or wherever you listen to fine podcasts. Join in every Monday live at 9 a.m. Pacific on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. We look forward to seeing you next time on The Experience Local with Russ and Scott.